So next up we have Robin Armstrong, who's going to be talking about the maps of consciousness through astrology. Robin is an international speaker, head of the RASA School of Astrology, and he's put together a wonderful program for us. He spent many, many years helping people doing personal charts reach their maximum potential, and hopefully we will learn some very interesting things today. Let's put together for Robin Armstrong.
Hopefully I haven't forgotten it all. Okay, so really this is about astrology and how you can use it for healing. There's many ways astrology can be used for healing, but I'm going to focus specifically on more or less on the planets. We build up to the different planetary levels of consciousness. I don't know if I can speak much louder. Maybe you can get closer? I just had a month of strep throat that I got over last week, so I can't really yell loud. I'll try. Okay, so there's always been astrology. You know, like if you ask people where astrology is, now the consensus is it started in Babylonian around 2500 BC. But really, that was the beginning of horoscopy, of the divisions of 12 and setting up the 12 numbers, and more of a Western Kabbalistic system where in the East it was always there. It just wasn't divided necessarily into 12. So there's really, I used to do a crash course on it. Oh yeah, so above, below. First main thing, half of the universe is above you, half is below you. Not theory. Conceivable reality, what's above, what's below. Okay, so this is and of course, us in between. So we have the forces above us, the forces below us, and us in between trying to, I'm blocking off the thing. So really it's like we're being grounded by the heavenly forces and the earthly forces, and we're getting our life in the middle of it. And we find our meaning and our being and our aliveness in the middle of it. So above and below ends up being we have the heavens above, the sun, the moon above, the year, the month, and we have the earth and the day below us. What we do in the day, what we do in the year and the seasons, what we do in the month. This is eternal. It's the essential factor for living, for knowing how to plant, knowing how to grow, knowing how to survive a season. It's just basic experiential being. I don't see this as theory, it's just little perceptions. Okay, that these can lead to deeper implications. Yeah, okay. So above there's a towel, a balance. What's above? It's either light or it's dark out. We can see where we're going or we can't see where we're going. Okay, that's the nature of what's above. What's below is firm or yielding. We're either on a firm foundation or we're not. So when you put these two things together, if you're on a firm foundation and it's light out, boy, you can see where you're going, you can run, you can do just about anything. If you're on a firm foundation and it's dark out, there might be a sidewalk, it's dark out, you have to be a little bit more conscious of where you are, but you still can maneuver. But if you're on an unfirm foundation and it's light out, you can navigate across a field that's got all rocks and stones and glass or whatever. You can navigate across it in the daytime. But if you're on a yielding foundation or an unfirm foundation and it's dark out, you're not going to walk across that field at night, because you won't be able to see where you're going, and there's all kinds of obstacles. Just the four basic situations in life. So starting from looking like this, we stand on the earth that's firm or yielding. But this goes to psychological things too, or spiritual things too. What's above relates to what we can objectively see. What's below relates to who we subjectively are. So in your own personal subjective worlds, are you firm or are you yielding? Are you secure or insecure? Whoa, that makes a difference. Then can you see where you are in society or in life, or do you not see? Are you It's a little simple texture, but it makes the picture of experiences that we see. Regardless, this doesn't matter about race, color, language, religion. This is just basic experiential reality. Life to the sun, to the earth, to being here. So the balance above is light and dark. The balance below is firm or yielding. And for man, it's love or rectitude. We're either in love or we're rectifying the situation. You could say it's created, we're active or passive. Like we're awake or we're active or passive, but really the more spiritual side of it, we're in love or we're having to recover from it, make up for it, get back to it, find it again. We're having to rectify. As long as we're rectifying and juggling things, it means we're not necessarily all the way in love. Who's not rectifying things? You know, so it's a puzzle. But these are just some initial concepts. Yeah, like the sun and moon above, your year, the seasons, the moon, it's the moon cycles, it's the planting cycles, the tide cycles, and the earth, the day cycles. The three things people have always had to know to survive. You know? Take any calendar, take any religion. So this just shows you again, just kind of working it towards the astrology chart a little bit. There's the horizon. Half the earth is below us, but the half when the sun's above, it's light out. So when you, okay, just simple concepts that, and then there's the point that's, of all the parts above us, there's a point that's the highest above us, and there's a point that's lowest beneath us. So this inner chart is represented by your midheaven, the highest point in the sky, by the eye seek. Technically, it's the point from the North Pole going south to the equator, or from the South Pole going north to the equator. But it's where the zodiac cuts it, where the sun cuts that line. That's the highest point of the zodiac in the sky. That's as high as the sun will go. And it fluctuates, that whole cycle fluctuates across the year. But these points, what this means, that half the sky is above you, half below you, but half of the sky is rising. Apart from right underneath you, that whole half of the sky is coming up. It's coming up to be noticed and to be out there. And once it's hit the highest point, it's starting to come down and go back into the depths. So if we see this above and below, we can see that. But it represents our outer social functional world and our inner personal subjective being. So things come out of our subjective being and we dump it out, we gotta prove it out into the world. I gotta get out of the house, I gotta get out of the house, I gotta do this job, I got this thing, I got it done by noon. Okay? Or then, well, now that I'm done, I have to react to everyone else. If you work in a business world, you get your work done in the morning because you're responding to everyone else in the afternoon. And you start getting dissipated, you're taking reactions, you're taking it in. You liked me, you didn't like me, I did good, I didn't good. You're taking all this stuff in, eventually that whole half of the sky comes back in and you have to sleep with it. Who are you? Who am I? Why do I have to do that? So a big fight out there can affect your inside. A complex inside will affect your outside. Half of the universe is rising, half is setting. It's coming out of us from our inner depth to our outer world. It's coming from the outer world back to our inner depth. We're putting out, we're taking it. So what you put back, what you put out comes back. Not always in the form you think, but how we see ourselves is the opposite of how other people react to us. And so there's a difference in that polarity. So there's a nice meditation that goes with this. Over everybody's head is a different star. We all have a different destiny. Over everybody's head's a different star. But under everybody's feet is the same earth. So we have our oneness and we have our distinctiveness in this pattern. So this was just a setup to be able to